Graph the function. Then it asks us to choose the correct graph on the right. These are actually really easy once we review the vertex form. So first, I'm going to write out our equation. F of x equals negative x minus 3 squared. Now for some of you, if you haven't learned f of x, that's the same thing as saying y equals negative x minus 3 squared. Now right underneath it, I'm going to write our vertex form. Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. The a tells us if it's going to be a happy face, it's positive. If it's negative, it's a sad face. So let's look at ours. Our a is a negative. The first thing we know is that we're looking for a sad face. The next thing we're going to figure out is our vertex. Now the vertex is hk. Now I'm going to circle my h. Remember, it's the opposite of what we see. So my h is going to be 3. And my k, well, we don't have any there. So that's a 0. And that is my vertex. Now let's go and look and see what we have over here on the right. First of all, the graph is negative. It's a sad face, so it cannot be A. Next, we notice that our vertex is 3, 0. Let's look at B. Now I'm going to make this a little bigger for everybody. My vertex is 0, 0. It cannot be that one. Let's look at C. I'm going to make this one large also. C looks like it's probably negative 3, 0. Well, it can't be that one either. So let's look at our last one. There we go, 3, 0. That looks good. Now this is kind of like the 3 bears, right? Goldilocks and the 3 bears, which one works? Our answer is D. So let's check our answer. Yay, good job. Let's look at another one. The next one says graph the function, then choose the correct graph at the right. So I'm going to write out our function, f of x equals 2 parentheses x plus 7 squared plus 6. So once again, if you're not familiar with function notation, this is the same thing as saying y equals 2 x plus 7 squared plus 6. Now underneath it, let's write our vertex formula. Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. First thing I like to look at is my A. Now, if my A is positive, it's going to be a happy face. If my A is negative, it's going to be a sad face. So let's see what we have. I don't care about the number. I just care if it's positive or negative. Since this one is positive, we're going to have a happy face. Let's look at our vertex now. So the vertex, now I'm going to circle my H. Remember, it's the opposite of what we see. So we see a positive 7. Our H is a negative 7. And our k is just 6. So our vertex is negative 7, 6. Now let's go over and pick the correct graph. The first thing we're going to look at, we need a happy face. So it can't be A, that's a sad face. And it can't be B because that's a sad face. So our only choices are C or D. Now what we're going to look at is we're going to look at our vertex. Our vertex is negative 7, 6. Let's make this one a little bigger. Now look at this. It could be negative 7, 6. That's a possibility. It's to the left of 0. Now let's look at the second one. Now this one, there's no way that my x is a negative because the center is right here. So it can't be, what is this one? D. It has to be C. So let's check our answer. Yay. We're going to do one more. Graph the function. Choose the correct graph at the right. So they've already graphed it for us, but let's write our function. F of x equals negative x plus 3 squared minus 1. If you haven't learned function notation, it's the same thing as y equals negative x plus 3 squared minus 1. Now let's write down our vertex formula. Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. The first thing that I like to look at is my A. Is it positive or negative? So I'm going to go just like this. It's negative. A negative means it's a sad face. A positive means it's a happy face. So for this one, it's negative. We're going to have a sad face. So that's the first thing we're going to look for. Then we're going to look at our vertex. Now the vertex is HK. Remember, it's the opposite of what we see for h. So we see a positive 3, we're going to write negative 3. And then my k is negative 1. So let's use that information to figure out which one is the correct graph. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look for sad faces. That is A, B, and D. C does not work because that's a happy face. So first of all, C is not our answer. So let's look at our vertexes. We're going to look at A first. Now for this one, since it's to the right of the origin 0, 0, that means that this is a positive x. Well, we need a negative x, so that's not going to be it. Now remember, we're looking at our vertex. Now this one, it could possibly be this one. It's a sad face. We have a negative x and a negative y. That's looking pretty good. Let's look at the last one, the last sad face. Well, it can't be this one, can it? Because the x is to the right of 0, so that means it's a positive x, and it's above 0, and that's a positive y. So it is not that one. It is actually going to be B, but let's just double check. Look at that, negative x, negative y. Well, let's pick B. Yay, good job.